I'm going to do my best.
Thank you very much.
In part, I'm going to do my best by largely ignoring what I wrote to prepare because I want to be inspired by what I just heard. So I want to start with some questions for the audience. How many of you have taken a 4-credit online course? How many of you have taught a 4-credit online course? How many of you have checked out your ratings on ratemyprofessors.com? Okay, interesting that we did a little better with the last one. But on the whole, my reaction, and I frankly predicted about the number of hands that would go up, is shame on you. You're sitting here and you've just heard that not that much has happened in terms of embracing technology. A ton has happened. And I'm not sure you all are likely to be as engaged with it as you should be. And lest you think I'm criticizing the National Association of Scholars, I will risk getting grief from Carrie Nelson in the audience by saying that I suspect if I asked the same questions at an AAUP meeting, I would get about the same number of hands going up. I think I am just back from attending the MLA and the AHA meetings back to back. And there are tons and tons of sessions about using technology in teaching, in research. If you walk through the exhibit hall, almost every publisher is offering e-textbooks either as standalone or supplements. There is a revolution in how teaching is going on. It is largely involving, and I'm going to really risk getting things thrown at me here, by a demographic of the professoriate that is a little younger than this audience. And I think it's very important for you all to know that there are huge changes going on in the use of technology in higher education. In fact, a hot topic of both the MLA and the AHA is great concern by younger professors that their work with technology is not sufficiently understood by those who will evaluate them for tenure. And so how teaching is going on, how learning is going on, now that's not to say it's good. I actually think that there's good online education, bad online education, and everything in between, much like you'll find in the classroom. But the revolution has started, and I think is far further along than you've heard here today. Now, one of the reasons I think that it's far further along is that most of the progress is in various forms of hybrid education. And by that I mean it's not people going to exclusively online programs, but it's traditional courses at traditional universities, traditional students at traditional universities getting some or all of their education online. And that's going on everywhere. And I would urge you as people, obviously because you're members of this organization, you care deeply about American higher education, I would urge you to experience it directly. And I think what you'll find is you might find some of your fears confirmed, but you also might find some of your fears challenged. You also might find a lot going on that you want to get involved in. Let me give you an example from personal experience. When I set out to start Inside Higher Ed, we are a for-profit business, and I went out and raised investor dollars to start Inside Higher Ed. And I didn't know much about doing that. So I took a course I wanted to take a course in business strategy. And I was traveling a lot, so I couldn't enroll at a local university. So I decided I would take an online course. It would be my first because I am old enough that I didn't do much online at all when I got a traditional undergraduate education. And so I'll tell you the first key difference. If you send out a note to a bunch of education providers saying, I am interested in taking a course in business strategy, I don't want a full MBA, it needs to be online, I use a Mac, I've never taken an online course before, you set out a bunch of things that are your criteria. Who will you hear back from instantly? For-profits. Much better customer service. And I ended up taking a course through UNext that was a course based on the business school curriculum of the University of Chicago in business strategy. And I want to tell you some good things about it and some not good things about it to maybe frame your thinking. It was intellectually at a high level. We had to do papers every week. They were serious. We had to participate in online discussions every week, and it was great for me. I was probably the outlier of the group because the group was all mid-level business people who identified themselves as business people. And so I was conversing with, an executive at Delta Airlines or Coca-Cola about how they were responding to a class assignment. So, and from all over the world. So good group. High level of rigor, I thought, in the materials we were given. We were guaranteed that we would have papers graded within 24 hours of turning them in. And I was doubtful and skeptical that this would happen because when I was an undergraduate at Cornell University, this never happened. And it happened. And not only did it happen, but when it happened the first time, I thought, okay, well, it's just going to be a letter grade or a check mark. It's not going to be actual comments on what I wrote. There were comments on what I wrote. And so they promise that, and they deliver. And I think that's a huge challenge to American higher education that is going on right now. And in fact, some of the nonprofits that are competing with entities like UNEX are making those promises for their courses. But now I'll tell you the thing that maybe should scare you. We were given materials for all of our papers, and each paper had to do with analyzing a business. Now, as a journalist, I naturally am suspicious anytime somebody feeds me all the materials I should use to analyze a situation. So I then went and did my own research. And when I got my first paper back, I actually got a call from the instructor who said, I need to ask you to redo it, because I'm not allowed to grade you on materials I didn't give you. You have to turn in the paper solely based on the materials I gave you. And that, as he explained, was because many of the people in the course didn't share my love of research, and they valued the fact that they were getting it all in a nice, neat size, and the institution valued pedagogy highly, such that they wanted to compare everything. And so they needed to know that all the students were doing the exact same thing. So I had to do that. Now, to me, that goes against everything I sort of believed about doing a research paper. But I also saw value in it from their perspective. So I give you that as an example just to say that everything is changing. It's already changing for good and bad. Most of what I wrote previously doesn't really fit in with this, so I'll just end there, but look forward to talking to you. Thank you.